Alright, hello everybody, Jober Velasco here. We're at the beautiful Los Angeles Rifle and Revolver Club, also a certified training center for USA shooting. And just wanted to tell everybody about my Walther KK500. I've been getting a lot of questions about it on targettalk.org, so I just wanted to give a rundown. I haven't seen a lot of videos about it other than the official videos from Walther. So this might be a good bit of information for everybody that's considering buying one of these. Basically, everything you see here is what comes with the rifle when you purchase one. There's a few things here that I've added, but I'll point those out to you so that you don't expect these to come with the rifle if you ever purchase it. But it's a complete package that's ready to shoot as soon as you receive it. Basically, we'll just start from the front of the rifle. So this is the 690 millimeter barrel. We'll go into that a little bit more in detail later because there are various options for it. But you get the the Sentra front sight that's paired with the inside-out rear sight. It's a very good sight. I've added the spirit level and the adjustable front aperture on mine, and then the rear sight you can see there was the adjustable rear aperture. Those do not come with the rifle. It comes with two sets of sight riser blocks. Now these are very handy because depending on how you have the rifle configured, you'll need these. Almost everybody I've seen uses at least one set of risers. If you use, if we go back here to the rear, if you use only one set of risers, you'll still have enough clearance with the bolt and the cheek piece. I haven't seen anybody actually use the sight just mounted directly to the receiver. At that point it becomes too low and your bolt will make contact with the cheek piece because you'll have to lower it in order to get the proper eye relief and the height for your sights in your eyeballs. But it comes with both of those. It also comes with the additional inserts so that you can add even more elevation to the sights. So that's very nice. And it also comes with your little multi-tool with the different hex wrench sizes, and it already comes with its own cleaning rod guide, which is very nice. And this actually serves another useful purpose, which we'll get into in a little bit. So still focusing on the front of the rifle, it comes with the sight extension tube. Total length of the sight extension tube is 166 millimeters, and then when mounted, it mounts using two screws on the bottom. So if you already have a Walther, you'll be familiar with that. These two screws on the KK500, those are the same screws that you would use to mount that sight mounting band that goes over the muzzle. Now when this is mounted and where the muzzle is positioned, this will give you about 113 millimeters of extra sight radius. So it's a nice little piece right there. I'm not particularly a huge fan of how it's mounted. I would have preferred something with an indexing collar and then bolts on the side. But this still works, and I had no problems with it. You just have to be very careful not to lose those two little screws on the bottom right here. Now going back to the barrel, so the barrel on this one, this is the 690 millimeter barrel. There are 4 different barrel options for this gun that are available from Walther. So the 690 millimeter blued barrel, you also have a 650 millimeter blued barrel, you have the 650 millimeter light barrel, and then you also have another 690 millimeter barrel that's stainless and fluted. And I don't have confirmation on it, but my understanding is that barrel, the stainless fluted 690 millimeter barrel, is produced by Border Barrels. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, so if anybody else knows, they can contact me and just give me some confirmation. As far as dimensions on this, again, it's 690 millimeters long. At the muzzle, it measures out to about 26 millimeters. I brought out my digital calipers last night to try to measure it, and then of course the battery was dead. So, but the external scale on my calipers showed it out to 26 millimeters. And then the remaining part of it behind the muzzle is 22 millimeters wide. The bipod from Sentra, that is not included. But what is included is this very nice Mech Sentra hand stop here. It's a very nice piece. I like it a lot. It's considerably more adjustable and more expensive than the hand stops provided by other manufacturers. So that's a very good thing that they included. The palm rest. This is basically the palm rest off of the KK500 anatomic stock. It's adjustable for elevation, as you can see. It can twist this way, it can tilt this way. So it's very adjustable. Again, much more adjustable and useful than the single block of wood that other manufacturers provide you as a palm rest. Trigger, give you a black plastic trigger shoe. The trigger took a little bit of getting used to for me. It's the 5018 trigger on the Onshoots Match 54 rifles is very good. This one definitely has a different feel to it, especially just because of the material. It's different. This is plastic, so just a little bit of getting used to that. But it's still a very good trigger. It's I'm not exactly sure what exactly the model number of this new Walther trigger is, but it's all ball bearings. Which seems to be a trend. Most of the new rifles are using triggers that utilize some type of ball bearing arrangement. The pistol grip, that again is basically off of your anatomic stock. Now it mounts the same way as on an anatomic stock or an LG 400 air rifle, so you can actually switch this out and request a different pistol grip. The other ones that they have, they have the different sizes, small, medium, and large for this. And then they also have the Pro Touch grip, which some of you are familiar with, which is off of the LG 400 air rifle, which is black. And again, it has the same amount of adjustment as on the anatomic and on the LG 400 air rifle. It moves side to side, forwards and backwards. You can pivot it a little bit depending on your needs. But again, very adjustable and a very nice pistol grip. Cheek piece. Now, just focusing on this area real quick, these knobs are very nice. Very easy to manipulate, so you can loosen them, so you can make your adjustments to your cheek piece or your butt plate. Your hands don't slip. Some have round knobs that sometimes are hard to turn, but these things, I love these. These are just, and they're engraved with Walther, so it's very nice. Now the cheek piece, again, all of the mounting hardware on this end is the same as on your anatomic stocks or your LG 400 air rifles. So they use these 3 rods that are 10 millimeters wide. So you could actually take your air rifle from your air rifle cheek piece and put it on here if you wanted to try that. Now this is ambidextrous, so there's a couple different ways that you can use it. Some prefer having a bit more of an edge, while others prefer to have it more rounded. And to try either position, all you have to do is flip it around and then reinstall it. Now again, this cheek piece is also highly adjustable. It moves laterally, side to side. You can tilt it or angle it however you need it. The adjustment screws are actually underneath this cheek ease material that I put on here. I'm just not taking it off right now because the cheek piece is in the position that I want it, so I don't want to move it again. But the screws are on here, so you just loosen those, and then you can manipulate this in all sorts of different directions. Now, if you wanted to actually, depending on how your setup is, if you wanted to move the entire cheek piece assembly forward, there are other holes in here in the cheek piece. So you just undo the screws, and then you can move this whole thing forward or backward depending on where you need it. But yeah, it's a very nice cheek piece. If you already have an anatomic stock or LG 400 air rifle, you'll be familiar with it. And the butt plate is also very nice. So butt plate, same arrangement, very easy to remove. And these are actually extra long rods that I have replaced, or I replaced the original rods that came with it. This is the length of the rods that it comes with. So you can see they're considerably shorter, which for some people might be good. For me, I needed a little bit extra length, so I got the long rods that I use for prone, and then these I use for standing, since I shortened up the butt plate a lot for the standing position. This butt plate it's got the most adjustments that I've ever seen in any butt plate offered with a rifle. So all of these pieces are individually adjustable. So these three pieces here can all be moved independent of each other. So you can accommodate a large shoulder or shrink it down for a small shoulder. The wings are all adjustable. Obviously, you see that. And then this is the thing that got me, because when I looked at this, I was wondering, what is this for? And then I undid it, and this whole thing just spins. So you can accommodate a whole lot of different positions, shoulder contact as you see fit. And this is also very long, so you can move this up and down. There's a very, very long range of adjustment here, depending on if you want to use this for prone, kneeling, or standing. And for me, these are still a little bit hard to come by. The last I checked, back in June while I was at Nationals, there were no spare butt plates available. So if you do have an older on-shoots butt plate, all you need to do is get these rods, because they'll mount using the existing hardware from the on-shoots butt plate. So this is, if you have the precise stock rods, just take those off, and then these will go on with the same mounting hardware. The only thing you'd have to do is these don't line up perfectly. So what I did is I took a Dremel and I elongated these holes here, and then now they'll line up perfectly. So this is the butt plate that I use for standing. So if you already have an on-shoots butt plate and you want to use it on this, that's one way to go about it. Now going back this way, one thing I forgot to mention is that there will be an available electronic trigger. You can either get the rifle with an electronic trigger. Those are still, I don't know the availability on those, but this is a whole modular setup from what I'm told. So you can buy the electronic trigger separately and install it on an existing KK500 rifle. Okay, now let's focus on the bolt and loading port. So the bolt is very, very hefty. It's quite considerably larger than, it's not as long as other bolts, but you can see that there's some weight to it. It's a rear locking assembly. You'll see there are 3 locking lugs. New design. It locks up very, very solidly. 6 o'clock firing pin position. So I've used both Lapua and Ely, and I have not had any problems with ignition on any of the ammo that I've used, and it leaves a very, very satisfying prominent indentation in the bottom of the case when you hit it. Now here's where the KK500 really shines, and that's the loading port position. You can see that it's directly above the trigger, whereas on an on-shoots or other rifles it would be way out here. So this enables the shooter, depending on how they set up their position, to load it in prone without lifting their elbow. I think that's a huge advantage. Most other people believe it's a huge advantage. Now what differs in this from some of the other rifles that have this same setup, so we're talking Blikers or the Grunig and Elmigers, the loading port is the loading tray is fixed. It does not move. It's a more conventional setup with older rifles. On the Grunig and the Bliker, on the Bliker this is spring loaded. So you actually put a round in, you have to insert it slightly, and then you push the bolt forward, and it pushes the tray down as the bolt moves forward. And then on the Grunig, I believe there's a mechanical linkage where when you insert the round partially into the chamber and you push the bolt forward, the loading tray swings down. Now that just seems a little bit overly complicated to me, but there's no moving parts, so there's less chance of anything going wrong. If you're still one of those people that just lays a round in there and then pushes it all the way home with the bolt, you can still do that with this rifle. That's not something that you're able to do very well with either a Grunig or a Bliker. And then the other thing, obviously, that sets this rifle apart from everybody else is that it's ambidextrous. So you'll see that it's open on the other end, so that you can load it from the opposite side. And then it's also got the cutout for the bolt handle on the opposite side. And that's where that's where this comes in handy, the cleaning rod guide. You'll see it's got a little cutout right here. Now you can do this, without this, but the bolt's sometimes slippery and it just slips. So all you have to do is insert it, and with a couple clicks, it's now in the left-handed position. And just insert it, and it's ready to go for a lefty. You may have also noticed that the bolt stop or bolt release, however you want to call it, is located on the top here because of the ambidextrous nature. So it's just that little lever here. You just depress it, and you'll see that it's just on the top. What else do they want to talk about? I think that's almost it. Yeah, this is a great rifle, and it's been worth every penny that I paid for it. I'm sure there's something I'm missing. I tried to answer all of the questions that I got on targettalk.org. If you have any more of this video, obviously, if you're watching it now, I'll have posted it on YouTube, so you can contact me there if you have any questions. MSRP right now, the best price I've seen is at McKenna Shooting Sports out of Colorado Springs. The 650mm barrels are in stock, and you can get that complete rifle for $5,000. But yeah, worth every penny. It's considerably cheaper than the Bleicher and the Grunig. And based on the results that you've seen in the World Cup this past year, I mean, Torben Grimmel won 3 gold medals in prone using his rifle with Lapua Center X. And I believe in Munich he shot a 630 with his. So it's obviously performing well, and I haven't had any issues with mine, no problems whatsoever, and it's been performing well also. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Sorry for the informal nature of this video. I don't have time to do anything fancy with editing or graphics, but I hope I answered most everyone's questions. And again, if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact me.